point or another, known an old man who lives in a shed. Exists in a shed, almost. I think it's fair to say we have. An old man alone in his solitude. A magical place. A place for fighting off time. A place where time doesn't exist. A place where imagination and memory combine and reality dwindles into the corner. Old man alone in a shed.
The days, the minutes, the hours and the seconds that make up a life continue to go on. Of course, that's time. It passes by outside the shed. The cities grow up and so do the people. Up, down, left, right, they pass him by. The shed remains static. Nice to have a fixed point somewhere amidst all the chaos. But the people don't notice. The shed's become as much a part of the landscape as that old tree that stood on the green. Now concrete, now tarmac, now road.
When a tree falls in a city, does it make a sound? A shed's not there. Who's there to notice?
They pass him by.
But trees have roots and sheds have reasons. The days, the minutes, the hours and the seconds that make up a life. 24 frames per second.
The days, the minutes, the hours and the seconds that made up his life, preserved in cinematic form.
Wake, get up. Breakfast. Wake, get up. Slippers. Slippers. Wake, coffee. Wake, get up. Slippers on breakfast. Coffee, pour coffee. Brush teeth, wash. Dress, coffee. Slippers off, shoes on, leave slippers at the door.
Comfort waiting for return home.
Get up. Slippers on door clothes. Pour coffee. Brush teeth, wash. Dress, coffee. Coat off, shoes on, leave slippers at the door.
Hand coat.
Get up. Slippers on breakfast. Coffee, kettle, tea, sit, solitude, sit, comfort, dinner, make dinner, eat dinner, sit, solitude, comfort.
Time passes. Sleep. Coat on.
And it's variable.
Shoes
What we remember from a life. Different things preserved by us all. The large events, the ones that had a profound effect on our lives, and what we feel we should remember.
Coat on.
Reality is more often the smallest of events, seemingly insignificant, that we remember.
Solitude. Comfort. Dinner.
Dress,
Make dinner.
eat, shoes on,
Sleep. Solitude.
wait,
Coat on. Hang on. Shoes on. Slippers. Kettle on. Tea.
Yes,
Sit. Solitude.
Wait,
Comfort. Dinner. Make coffee. Eat. Dress. What we're trying to hold on to preserve, is a way of life, a mode of being.
The first time he smelt coffee and liked it.
Catching her eye and touching her hand.
learning to shave and getting it wrong.
Sex for the first time and getting it wrong. What we remember isn't the main event, it's the bits in between, the smallest of detail.
A hand run through hair,
Skin.
a neck exposed. Falling down and ripping his trousers. A tiny tear that led to years of bullying.
His trousers were wrong.
Thread slowly unraveling, hole expanding until, being exposed, he was the loneliest one in school.
Tiny tear, thread unraveling.
That first puff of smoke behind the bike sheds at school. Nona turned rebel. And then blowing out of his mouth like a fierce, infinitely cool dragon. Still a child, but learning to smoke.
Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. The first train that came into town, that took him quicker than he'd ever imagined to the city. Thriving metropolis, people rushing past.
Different lines, different patterns. Then back to his town. The people, the places, the names, the faces. His community, his town. Familiar patterns, known patterns, conscious patterns. The patterns of a life uninterrupted by external forces.
Local woman, elderly woman, teaches infants in her land. 5 times tables, English literature,
15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80.
We live our lives in patterns.
Predictable on and on, until something happens to interrupt the patterns. Something happens to give us a different form. On and on.
house, shut the door, walk the regular path, same footfalls as the day before.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Step. The moment happens when you least expect it. Perhaps a second out of your regular day. Perhaps a moment that sustains itself over years and alters patterns consistently.
Faces turned, eyes caught.
A second held, a picture preserved in memory forever.
5. Quiet boy, new girl. Walked to school without a word. Walking companions until the age of 10. Hands touch. World stops. Irregular form. Catching her eye and touching her hand.
15. Sex for the first time, and getting it wrong.
Patterns return, life goes on.
Departure of a 5-year-old's walking companion.
Wake, get up, breakfast.
The first time he smelled coffee and liked it.
Coffee, 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 coffee.
He took an apprenticeship with the local toy maker.
Drank lots of coffee and learnt a craft.
Built himself into the workshop.
Coffee, solitude and toys.
20. Accomplished maker.
Cut, chisel, hammer, chisel, varnish, paint.
Final touches.
Wooden people, wooden towels.
Started making wooden copies of the people in his town he knew so well.
Cut, chisel, hammer, chisel, varnish, paint.
20. The return. 20. The night. The night in the toy shop. Breath.
A hand run through hair.
Skin.
A neck exposed.
Soft.
Bread, chisel, hammer, chisel, varnish,
Skin.
paint.
Soft. A neck exposed.
A mode of being. A pattern changed. Hers and his. 2 patterns entwined. 25.
She's in the garden and he's in the shed.
Sunlight striking and capturing her face.
Cut, chisel, hammer, chisel, varnish, paint. 30.
Talk of the town.
Wonderful toys make magical gifts.
35. The gift of slippers.
Slippers on.
A father. Young boy on the road to school. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40.
Garden party. Whole community. Everybody there to celebrate the toy maker. Lights in the garden. Laughter in the air. Children playing. Little wooden toys.
Old man alone in the shed. He watches a single film on repeat. Occasionally he pauses, rests on a single frame.
A family photograph lingering in the air.
Remember the people, the places, and the faces. Remember the names. Sometimes hard to put names to faces.
Time passes. The days, the minutes, the hours and the seconds that make up a life.
When a tree falls in the city, does it make a sound?
Trees have roots and sheds have reasons.
Preserve a way of love.
All of us have known an old man who spends his time alone in a shed, pausing, watching a single frame on repeat.